Yeah, so much to talk about, guys. Great to see you from here in Philadelphia. What a night it was here in Philly. Workers now tearing down the security perimeter that was set up as Vice President Harris and former President Trump clashed here. That's going to be continuing throughout the morning. But this debate really pitted two very different candidates and different styles for president on display for the American public to witness. Right out of the gate, we witnessed the first meeting between the two. This is the moment Vice President Harris makes the first move, appearing to go over directly to shake the former president's hand, and that's what happened as we saw it play out here in Philadelphia. 90 minutes followed, and at times that turned into heated conversation. Former President Trump, stern-faced throughout the entire night, only glancing at Vice President Harris a few times. They clashed on a lot of key issues. We're talking about abortion, immigration, and of course their vision for the future of this nation. I was right here witnessing it all alongside Sade, and there were moments where it took a turn to the bizarre, but then also substantive conversations about very different views of how to lead this nation.
Their first time meeting, the country was watching.
Starting off with a handshake, getting right down to business.
And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban, because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states.
Former President Trump going after the vice president's record on the border.
She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border.
The United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job.
The vice president saying another 4 years of Trump wouldn't be good for America.
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start-up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't.
During the conversation on immigration came one of the more extraordinary moments of the debate. Mr. Trump pushed baseless claims that immigrants in Ohio are eating dogs and other pets.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Trump saying Americans are worse off than he was in office and wants to change that.
They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
Both had very different plans when it comes to fixing the crisis in the Mideast.
We must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians.
If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel.
Vice President Harris also picked up a big endorsement right after the debate. Taylor Swift posted on Instagram to her 283 million followers, she is endorsing Vice President Harris. Swift said Harris, quote, fights for the rights and causes I believe, need a warrior to champion them, calling the vice president a steady-handed, gifted leader. Swift also criticized a fake AI post of her endorsing Donald Trump on his website. She signed the post, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady. Of course, that's a reference to a comment made by Senator J.D. Vance, who is Trump's running mate, who said women without biological children have, quote, no direct stake in the U.S. our coverage of debate night only getting started here on This Morning after the candidates, less than an hour after that debate, making appearances nearby here in Philly. Harris at a watch party, Trump going to the spin room where the surrogates were supposed to frame how the night went. Instead, the candidate himself talked to reporters. What did they say about their performance? And is there a chance for another face-off before we get to Election Day? We'll have all that and more coming up at the top of the hour.